I never thought a quiet room could feel so loud. Mr. Turner's office was the kind of place where the air seemed heavy, like it had been holding on to secrets for decades. The walls were lined with framed certificates, faded photos, and shelves stuffed with books whose spines had gone pale with time. It smelled like lemon polish, old paper, and the faint bitterness of burnt coffee. The four of us sat around a long wooden table. My brother Lucas sat to my left, my sister Qley to my right, and Mr. Turner across from us. The table had a smooth surface worn shiny by years of elbows and pens. The clock above the door ticked slowly, each second echoing in my head like a drumbeat. It had been 3 weeks since Mom's funeral. I was still half expecting her to walk in at any moment, telling us to take our shoes off before we ruined the carpet, her voice warm but firm. Instead, there was just that clock, ticking away. Lucas was leaning back in his chair, one leg stretched out, tapping a pen against his coffee cup. Click, click, click. His suit was too sharp for him, navy blue, pressed just right, and I knew instantly it wasn't his. Lucas has never been the kind of guy to own a suit. He probably borrowed it from a friend, maybe one of his poker buddies. His hair was slicked back, and he had that same smirk he always got when he thought he was the smartest guy in the room. Qley was the opposite. She sat with her back straight, but her shoulders drawn in, like she was trying to take up as little space as possible. She wore a black sweater with sleeves pulled down over her hands, and her eyes were a little red. She twisted the silver ring Mom had given her last Christmas around and around her finger. I noticed she hadn't worn makeup, which was unusual for her, but maybe she was just tired of looking presentable after weeks of family gatherings. Mr. Turner adjusted his glasses and looked at us with the kind of expression you can only get from decades of dealing with grieving families. Patient, but prepared for anything. Your mother, Hannah Blake. He began in a calm, measured voice, left a will stating that her estate is to be divided equally among her 3 children. Hearing her name out loud made my throat tighten. That includes the house, Mr. Turner continued, the savings account, and her personal belongings. Lucas gave a small, lazy smile and said, "Sounds fair." His tone was light, but it made my skin prickle. I just nodded. Mom had always been big on fairness. She used to measure slices of cake to make sure no one got more than anyone else. Mr. Turner flipped a page in the folder in front of him. The house has been appraised at $240,000. Once it's sold, the proceeds will be divided equally. The savings account currently has a balance of $180,000, which will also be divided equally. That number, $180,000, landed in my chest like a weight. I thought about how many late-night shifts Mom had pulled at the diner, the winters she wore the same coat year after year, the way she'd quietly skip buying new shoes so she could help us pay for school supplies. That money was more than numbers. It was the sum of her sacrifices. Qley's eyes shimmered, and she looked down, twisting her ring faster. Mr. Turner slid copies of the will to each of us. I looked down at the pages and saw Mom's neat, careful signature at the bottom, written in her favorite blue pen. "This will was updated 2 years ago," Mr. Turner said. She was very clear about her wishes. No changes have been made since then. We each signed acknowledgement forms, the pens scratching across the paper loud in the stillness of the room. The whole process took maybe 20 minutes. It was all so ordinary. No tension, no arguments, just signatures and papers and polite nods. When we stepped out into the hallway afterward, Lucas clapped me on the shoulder. "See? No problem. We're all good." His smile was easy, but something about it didn't match his eyes. There was a glint there, the same glint he had when we were kids, and he'd just gotten away with something. I wanted to believe him. I really did. A week after the meeting, I was fixing a leaking faucet in my kitchen when my phone rang. The number was unfamiliar. "This is Aaron Blake," I answered. "Mr. Blake, this is Carrie from First National Bank. We're calling to confirm the transfer you requested from your late mother's account." I frowned. "Transfer? I didn't request any transfer." There was a pause. "Oh, well, last Friday, the full balance of the account was moved into a personal account under the name Lucas Blake." My grip on the phone tightened until my knuckles went white. "The full balance? All of it?" "Yes, sir. $180,000. The words felt unreal, like she just told me the moon had fallen into the ocean. I didn't even think. I grabbed my keys, got in my truck, and drove straight to Lucas's apartment. He opened the door in basketball shorts and a faded t-shirt, holding a beer. "Hey, little brother," he said, grinning like we were about to watch the game together. "Where's Mom's money?" I asked, no small talk. His grin didn't fade. "Relax. Mom told me I could have it. She knew I needed it more than you or Qley." "That's not what the will says," I said, my voice rising. Lucas shrugged. "The will's just paperwork. Mom wanted to help me out. I'm just making sure her wishes are carried out." "She wrote her wishes down in a legal document, Lucas. You took that money. That's stealing." His eyes hardened. "Don't start with that stealing crap. You've got a job. Qley's fine. I'm the one with debts. I'm the one who needs it." I stared at him. "You think your problems give you the right to rob your own family?" Lucas took a sip of beer. "Think about it, Aaron. Mom would rather see me on my feet than see me drown. You can't prove she didn't tell me to take it." The way he said it, calm, almost smug, made my stomach turn. That night, I drove to Qley's place and told her what happened. Her hands flew to her mouth, and for a second, I thought she'd finally take my side. But she shook her head. "Aaron, we can't fight him. It'll tear the family apart. Mom wouldn't want that." "She also wouldn't want one of her kids to rob the others," I said. Qley's eyes filled with tears, but she looked away. "Please, just think about it before you do anything. I can't lose both my brothers." That night, I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling. The glow from the streetlight outside painted a pale square on the wall, and in that quiet, one thought wouldn't leave me. If Lucas had the nerve to take the money, he might already be planning to take the house next. And I wasn't going to let that happen. For the next few days, I kept waiting for Lucas to call me back and admit what he did. I figured maybe the shock would wear off, he'd realize how wrong it was, and we'd work something out. That call never came. Instead, I got an email from Mr. Turner. It was short, only 2 sentences. "Aaron, Lucas has informed me that the savings account in question was a personal gift from your mother prior to her death. Without written evidence to the contrary, I cannot challenge his claim." I read the words 3 times. My hands felt hot. Lucas wasn't just refusing to give the money back. He was rewriting the story entirely. The next time I saw Lucas was at Mom's house. I'd gone over to start packing some of her things into boxes. The living room smelled like dust and the faint trace of her perfume. Lucas was in the kitchen, drinking coffee from one of Mom's old mugs. He didn't even look guilty. "So I hear you've been talking to Turner," he said. "I hear you've been lying to him," I shot back. Lucas leaned against the counter. "It's not a lie. Mom gave me that money before she died. She told me not to tell you because you'd make it a big deal." "That's convenient," I said. "Any proof?" He smirked. "Not everything needs proof. Sometimes you just trust family." I almost laughed at the irony. I thought Qley would be on my side once she heard Lucas's new gift story. I called her that night and laid it all out. Her voice was soft, almost apologetic. "Aaron, I don't know. Mom did help Lucas out a lot. Maybe this was her way of helping him one last time." "You believe that?" I asked. "I don't know what to believe," she said. "And I don't want to get in the middle." "That's the problem, Qley. You are in the middle. He's taking our share, too." She sighed. "I just want to keep the peace." Her words made my chest feel tight. Keeping the peace, that was Qley's answer to everything. I went back to Mom's house a few days later to grab some things I'd left in the garage. While I was there, I started looking through her desk drawers. Most of it was old bills, greeting cards, and shopping lists. But in the bottom drawer, tucked under a stack of envelopes, I found a manila folder labeled Bank in Mom's handwriting. Inside were copies of her bank statements for the past 5 years. I flipped through them, looking for something, anything, that showed a withdrawal to Lucas before she died. There was nothing. Every page showed steady deposits from her job, a few regular expenses, and the balance slowly growing over time. No huge transfers, no missing $180,000, which meant if Lucas's gift story was true, it would have happened so close to her death that the bank statements hadn't even caught up yet. Or, more likely, it never happened at all. I brought the folder to Mr. Turner's office the next day. He scanned the papers slowly. "This is useful," he said. But unfortunately, without a statement covering the last month before her death, We can't prove or disprove the claim." "What do you mean? These are all the statements she kept." Turner frowned. She was meticulous with her records. "It's unusual the last statement would be missing." Something in my gut twisted. "You think Lucas took it?" I asked. Turner didn't answer directly, but his silence was enough. That night, I went back to Mom's house. Lucas's truck was in the driveway. I walked in without knocking and found him in the living room, going through one of Mom's storage boxes. "What are you doing?" I asked. "Just grabbing some photos," he said, holding up a framed picture of him and Mom at the county fair. I noticed an envelope sticking out from under the photo albums in the box. Lucas shoved it deeper before I could see what it was. Something in me snapped. "If you took her last bank statement, give it back." Lucas looked at me like I'd accused him of murder. "You've lost it, man. You think I'm hiding papers from you now?" I stepped closer. "Yes." He set the picture down and straightened up, his tone suddenly cold. "You're making a mistake, Aaron. You keep pushing this, and you're going to regret it." When I left that night, my hands were still shaking. It wasn't fear. Not exactly. It was the certainty that Lucas had taken more than just the money. And if he was willing to hide documents, there was no telling what else he'd already done, or what he planned to do next. One thing was clear. If I wanted proof, I'd have to find it myself. I didn't sleep much after that last fight with Lucas. Every time I closed my eyes, I pictured him slipping that envelope into his jacket when no one was looking. The longer I thought about it, the more one thing became clear. I couldn't just accuse him. I needed something solid, something no one could twist or deny. The problem was, Lucas had always been slippery. When we were kids, he'd sneak extra dessert, then convince Mom I'd eaten it. He could lie without blinking, without his voice wavering, and people believed him. Because he was charming. Because he could make you laugh right after he cheated you. This was different. This wasn't stealing a slice of cake. This was taking Mom's life savings. I didn't expect help from Qley. She'd been quiet since the start, and she thought ignoring it might make it go away. But one Saturday morning, my phone buzzed. It was a text from her. "Can you come over? I found something." When I got to her apartment, she didn't say much. She just handed me a small stack of papers. They were bank statements, the last 3 months of Mom's life. "Where did you get these?" I asked. Qley bit her lip. "Lucas left some boxes at my place after the funeral. Said they were just photos and old clothes. I was going through them this morning, and these were at the bottom of one." I flipped through the pages. 2 months looked normal, but the last one, the statement from the month before Mom died, had a single massive withdrawal, $180,000. Same date the bank had told me about. The transfer went directly into an account with Lucas's name on it. I stared at the page so long my eyes blurred. "This is it," I said. "This is the proof." Before I could leave, Qley stopped me. "Aaron, there's something else you need to know." She sat down on the couch, twisting her ring again. "The night before Mom went into the hospital, Lucas came over here. He was drunk. He told me he was taking care of business so you wouldn't waste the money. I didn't know what he meant at the time. I thought he was just talking big." I shook my head. "Why didn't you tell me sooner?" Her eyes filled with tears. Because I didn't want to believe it was true. And because he told me if you went after him, he'd tell people you pressured Mom for your share early. It was such an absurd lie that I almost laughed. Almost. But then I remembered, with Lucas's charm, he could make even the most ridiculous story sound believable. I took the statement straight to Mr. Turner. He adjusted his glasses and read it twice. "This changes things," he said finally. "This is proof that the funds were withdrawn after your mother's will was finalized and without any written amendment granting them to Lucas." "So we can go after him legally?" I asked. "Yes, but understand this. Once we start, it will get ugly. Family will be pulled in. Accusations will fly. Are you prepared for that?" I didn't even hesitate. He made it ugly when he took the money. That night, I went to see Lucas. I didn't tell him about the lawyer yet. I just wanted to see his face when I put the paper in front of him. He opened the door and I handed him the statement. "Care to explain?" His eyes flicked over the numbers. For a second, I saw something, a crack in his calm. But it vanished fast. "So, Mom told me to take it. This just proves she meant it." "No," I said, my voice steady. "This proves you drained her account without telling me or Qley. And now I've got it in writing." Lucas laughed. Not because it was funny, but because that's what he does when he's cornered. You think a piece of paper is going to make anyone take your side? You've always been the jealous little brother. Everyone knows it. It hit me then. He wasn't just stealing from me. He was already building a story to make me the villain. 2 days later, word had spread through the family. Not from me, from Lucas. An aunt called to say she'd heard I was trying to take Lucas to court out of spite. A cousin texted asking why I was turning on my own brother. Lucas was getting ahead of me, poisoning the well before I could tell my side. But I had the truth, and I wasn't going to let him bury it. By the time I left Qley's that night, the choice was made. I was taking this as far as it needed to go. By the time I had the bank statement in my hands, I'd already made up my mind. I wasn't letting Lucas get away with it. Not because I needed the money, though, yeah, it would help. But because Mom's entire life's work wasn't going to be twisted into some gift he could claim whenever it suited him. Still, I knew one thing. Lucas thrived in the shadows. He lied best when it was just him and one other person. If I was going to confront him, it had to be somewhere he couldn't spin it privately, somewhere other people could hear the truth. So I called a family meeting at Mom's house. I told Qley, I told Lucas, and I even called a few aunts and uncles who'd been asking questions. When I walked in, Lucas was already there, leaning against the kitchen counter with a beer, looking relaxed. Qley sat at the dining table, arms crossed, eyes down. My Aunt Marlene and Uncle Frank stood in the corner, murmuring to each other. I didn't waste time. "Before we get into anything," I said, pulling the bank statement from my folder, "I want everyone to see this." I laid it on the table so they could all read. $180,000 withdrawn from Mom's account, deposited directly into Lucas's account, dated 2 weeks before she died. "This," I said, "is what happened to Mom's savings. She didn't gift it to him. She didn't change her will. He took it." Lucas laughed, just like I knew he would. "Here we go. Aaron the accuser. You've been jealous since we were kids. Mom gave me that money because she trusted me to use it for the family. I told her I'd handle things." "For the family," I shot back. "Where's the money now, then? Still in the account or gone?" Lucas's smirk faltered for half a second, just enough for everyone in the room to notice. Uncle Frank spoke up. "Is that true, Lucas? Did you spend it?" Lucas bristled. "It's my money now. What I do with it isn't anyone's business." That did it. Marlene shook her head. "Hannah worked her whole life for that money. You think she'd want it blown in a few months?" Lucas turned to me, his voice low but full of venom. "You're going to regret this. You're tearing the family apart." "No," I said, holding his gaze. "You did that when you stole from us. All I'm doing is making sure everyone knows the truth." I could see it in his eyes. He realized I wasn't bluffing. The next morning, Mr. Turner filed the paperwork to start legal proceedings. Qley finally came around and agreed to give a statement about the night Lucas bragged about taking care of business. Some family members were furious with me for airing dirty laundry. Others quietly admitted they'd suspected Lucas was lying from the start. Lucas, of course, tried every trick, stalling, claiming the statement was fake, even suggesting Mom had meant to change her will but never got around to it. But the paper trail was too strong. It took months, but in the end, the court sided with me. Lucas had to repay both Qley and me our shares from the $180,000. The money didn't erase the damage, but it proved he couldn't just rewrite the truth. Lucas and I haven't spoken since. He moved 2 towns over, and I heard through the grapevine he's already in debt again. Here's the thing. I don't regret any of it. Not the fight, not the stress, not the people who stopped talking to me afterward. Because if I'd stayed quiet, Mom's legacy would have been turned into Lucas's slush fund. And worse, he'd have learned that he could do anything to me and Qley without consequence. Some people think keeping the peace means staying silent. I think it means making sure the truth is louder than the lies. When I drive past Mom's old house now, I don't think about the fight. I think about her. The way she used to stand on the porch in the evenings, watching the sun go down over the street. And I know, if she'd been in that kitchen during the family meeting, she'd have been standing next to me. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed, please like, share, and subscribe for more content. If you want to share your stories, please comment below. Additionally, what is your opinion on the poster's decision?